Lucifer Review. Hello, everyone. In a heavy rainstorm at the cemetery, many warriors lost their lives. The main character, why Zay felt deep regret, and Kazan beside him comforted him. At that moment, Zay saw his comrade Havak die alongside him, and his master Sidia was also severely injured, causing Zay to unleash a massive barrier. This was uncontrolled magic power. After that, the barrier disappeared. That was the past, and now Zay has been admitted to Anno Magic Academy. He is on his way to the Great Hall when he runs into a girl named Wanda, but the moment she sees him, Wanda is struck by love at first sight. When Wanda hears that Zay is a new student, she is surprised because new students were supposed to start the day before. Among the new students, there was one who arrived on opening day, and she came from an ordinary family. Wanda realizes Zay is a commoner, which surprises her. She sees Zay's help as an insult when touching the noble class like herself. Just as that issue ends, another group led by a blue-haired guy named Onbeth arrives. Seeing this, Zay tries to shake hands, but is immediately rejected. Onbeth says only nobles are allowed to study here, and those inferior must come from witch families, because Anno Magic Academy is now a prestigious and proper school for nobles. He wants to kick Zay out because he's a commoner and doesn't belong here. Still, Zay refuses to leave. So Onbeth tries to get physical, but Zay is protected by a girl named Amelia. She's a third-generation noble and highly respected here. Facing a strong opponent, Beth backs off and leaves. Amelia then talks to Zay. Surprised that he's the only commoner in the school, Amelia thinks Zay must be exceptionally talented to be accepted here. After that, the opening ceremony takes place and the principal Garnett gives a speech. Anno Magic Academy is the top school in the world, training the future seeds of the country. However, just being in a great school doesn't mean you can relax. Students must learn and absorb knowledge daily through innate talent, environment, and effort. This is every bullied kid's dream. Garnett wishes all students success from start to graduation. Next, Amelia represents the students and proudly speaks about studying at this long-standing school. She says that entering here is just the beginning, not the end. Training magic to improve strength is what the academy truly needs. Skipping the ceremony, Zay is introduced to his new class. Everyone, being nobles, looks down on him. Still, they just ignore and congratulate Zay for joining. The teacher, Helena, doesn't look down on him but helps Zay, and then Zay goes to his seat. Zay looks outside, remembering this place was ravaged during the war, but still focused on that. Helena throws chalk at him, but he easily blocks it. However, the chalk explodes, and Zay gets chalk all over his face. Putting that aside, Helena talks about witch ranks, which include bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and the highest rank considered divine. In any history, there are 7 supreme witches, called the 7 great witches of the world. That's the ultimate goal all witches desire. Though their identities remain a mystery, some info is public. First, the academy principal is the flame witch. Then there's Kazone, the enchantment witch, and a magic researcher. Another is celebrated as a hero of the Far East campaign, the Ice Sword Witch. After the campaign ended, the Ice Sword disappeared from the world. No matter how many great witches there are, Helena hopes the students can reach. First, the academy principal is a blazing fire witch. Next is the enchanting witch Kazone, who is also a magic researcher. Additionally, there is one praised as a hero in the Far East campaign, the Ice Sword Witch. After the Far East campaign ended, the Ice Sword disappeared from the world. Even so, no matter how many great witches there are, Helena hopes that the students of this school can reach that greatness. As soon as she heard that, Onbeth had an opinion about the goal of students becoming the 7 great witches, asking why ordinary people are in this school immediately. Onbeth was scolded by Helena because everyone here passed the required exam. Students are only allowed into the school after the interview round, so it doesn't matter if they are commoners or nobles. Setting that aside, the first lesson was magic practice. Helena also said magic is not to be underestimated. It collectively refers to the technique of material reproduction of the world's first matter. In other words, the core of magic is cryptographic theory, nothing different. What programming code and encoding materials into cryptography and to form a clear object requires a fixing step. And the final change is the step of concretizing and manifesting it into a material. This is precisely the magic basics that students need to learn today. Moreover, what I create can also be erased, and magic is a theoretical magical phenomenon born from magical theory. Hearing this, Amelia was curious about whether there were limits to things regenerated from materials. Helena said there were no limits. It depends on the power of the wizard herself, because magic mainly generates matter and techniques that produce material phenomena. It can be divided into 4 elements: solid, liquid, gas, and finally black magic. Except for these, everything else is a phenomenon. After answering, someone else became curious about what Helena just did. Was she using material encoding to erase that bandage? Helena said not only she, but wizards can use temporary antimatter encoding that doesn't exist. The dual code theory of the AI nation is PhD level material, so students don't need to understand that part yet. Now students need to practice magic. Amelia was the first to try and started encoding based on the knowledge she had, and Amelia created a snowflake. Everyone was amazed, but they looked down on Jay because he succeeded while Onbet failed, which made him very frustrated and unforgiving towards Jay, as a noble Onbet wouldn't forgive commoners who disgrace his reputation. Later, during break time, Jay was admiring the scenery when he saw the girl who spoke earlier, so he followed and talked to her. Jay introduced himself and learned her name was Elisa. It was their first meeting. They became friends right away. Elisa also said she asked Helena earlier because she greatly admires the AI Nation's PhD, and her goal is to earn a PhD since it's the highest degree in magic research. But it's very hard to achieve, so Elisa considers it just a dream because it's too difficult. Elisa was also curious if Jay liked Aniswood, and he said yes, surprising Elisa, since this was the first time she'd met an Isa of the same age as the AI Nation. Jay didn't understand what that meant, so Elisa explained it meant being a fan of the AI Nation's PhD. Looking at Elisa, Jay complimented her hair as very beautiful, but Elisa always hid her face. Jay asked why, and Elisa replied, it's just that her ears are strange. They are half elf ears, but not ugly. To Jay, they are very beautiful ears, but Elisa hid them because her mother is an elf, and for that reason, she was often pointed at by others since birth. But Jay thought they were truly beautiful and that there was no need to hide them. Elisa felt Jay seemed more mature than his peers, reminding Jay of what Havet once said that was because he was too mature. Surely he must be one of those unaging uncles. Putting that aside, Elisa thanked Jay for helping her not feel scared, and then they said goodbye. Later, Jay went to his new room and met his roommate named Evi. Evi had been waiting for him since yesterday afternoon and wanted to talk. Evi didn't care if Jay was commoner or noble, only believing in one thing. As they shook hands, they realized they were both gym fanatics. Putting that aside, early morning, Jay started jogging to train his health, then saw a person named Barali Zay Betka cross the street. So he apologized for almost bumping into her. When she learned he was Zay, she was surprised because he was the first commoner since the Academy's founding, while Zay Betka was a third-year student and hoped he would look out for her. Later on the way to class, Zay introduced herself as Zay Beckham to Evie. Evie was surprised that Zay didn't know about the Borsley family. Evi said Zeus, Borsley, and Ogren are three families almost equal to the royal family. The pinnacle of nobility wielding huge influence over politics and economy, thus called the three great nobles. Amelia also belongs to the three great nobles and is their leader, possessing top-tier magical talent, great noble. And Amelia also belongs to the three great nobles and is the leader possessing top-tier magic talent, a true noble, not some low class like Onbet's family. And just before class started, because he had something to do, he left. When he reached the end of the hallway, a girl named Clarice rushed up to him. She was wrong, but blamed Jay, leaving him speechless, but Jay wasn't mad at the girl and apologized. When Clarice realized Jay was a commoner, she wasn't scared at all and even got mentally manipulated by Jay. When Clarice realized Jay was just an ordinary person, she wasn't scared at all and even got mentally manipulated by Jay. The reason was Jay complimenting her beauty, which made Classic introduce himself in the coolest way possible. Unfortunately, Jay, a newcomer from the countryside, didn't know anything about famous clans, which saddened Classic, but Jay comforted him, and due to other matters, Classic left. Jay then went to the principal's office to talk with Garnet. He was respectful to the colonel, but that was in the past, and now both had retired and moved on from it. The next class for the students was swordsmanship practice taught by a teacher named Elios, who set rules because if anyone went too far, Elios would step in to stop them. Onbet also took this chance to try to get back at Jay, since he had been annoyed by him for a long time. As soon as it started, Onbet rushed in, but Jay easily dodged, causing Onbet's sword to miss its mark. Frustrated, Onbet charged again, but was immediately pierced through by Jay's sword, and Jay claimed victory, making even Albert lose with full respect. That evening, Jay and Evi trained their physical strength together. After finishing, they drank a full glass of water to recover what they had lost. Jay also told Evi that he would join two clubs simultaneously since he was lucky to get into school and wanted to give his all. He pulled out a gold card, which surprised Evie, and immediately applied for Jay to join the gym club. They didn't discriminate against ordinary people and agreed to let Jay join. Their job was environmental cleanup, and with a weak body and indifferent spirit, it was hard to do that work. Hearing this, Jay took off his jacket, revealing a toned body that amazed everyone because he looked small outside but was actually hiding his true strength. The club leader was also surprised because those muscles clearly meant Jay trained regularly every day. Then the club president took out a gold card, and Jay did too. It was a gold hunter license, surprising everyone since he was an ordinary guy with a high rank. He stood out as a unique figure among hunters, so Jay's muscles were definitely not ordinary at all. After joining the environmental club, Jay went to Z Beckham's club. He wanted to join because he cared about plants struggling to survive, since no matter how harsh the environment, a flower would always bloom. So Zai loved plants. which Z. Beckham understood, but since the club was full of girls, he wasn't worried. Girls are fleeting, but passion is endless. However, a girl named Dina disagreed because she suspected Jay was targeting Z. Beckham by joining the club. Most people wouldn't be dumb enough to step into a flower garden, especially since Zai was an ordinary person, causing mixed opinions. So Z. Beckham decided to let Dina handle Zai by giving him a test to see if he was suitable for the club. It wouldn't be too late to refuse after that. Dina agreed to this request. Then Dina took Jay to a garden overrun with weeds, and Jay's mission was to clear this and turn it into a new flower garden. The deadline was 1 week, and he had to do it alone. Hearing this, Jay got to work happily while Dina observed every second. In just one short day, Jay had cut down the weeds. On the second day, Dina began soil improvement. On the third day, Jay started building to transform the land into a flower garden. Seeing Jay working tirelessly, Z. Beckham came to visit. She brought food that tasted amazing to Jay because of its incredible flavor. Jay was eating when he heard sword practice sounds and looked down to see two people training, making Z. Beckham guess that the upcoming magical swordsman tournament was about to happen. It was a contest among students to decide who was the strongest magic swordsman, which Jay didn't know about, sparking Z. Beckham's curiosity. She touched his bicep and felt it was rock solid because Jay trained diligently. Setting that aside, by the fourth day, Dina observed every moment of work, and in just one short day, the grass was cut by him. On the second day, Dina started to renovate the land. On the third day, he began building to turn the area into a flower garden. Seeing Jay working tirelessly, Z. Beckham also came to visit him. She brought food that Jay found delicious because the flavor was truly amazing. He was eating when he heard sword practice sounds. When he looked down, he saw two people training, making Z. Beckham guess that the magic swordsman tournament was coming up. It's a contest among students to decide who is the strongest magic swordsman, which Jay didn't know, making Z. Beckham curious. She looked at his bicep, and when she touched it, it was really firm, and even because Jay had been training consistently. Setting that aside, on the fourth day, Jay finished the flower garden, surprising the girls. Dina couldn't do anything but accept Jay's success. In the afternoon on the way home, Jay remembered what Garnet said. She asked him to investigate who the Empire's spy is, and maybe the enemy is hiding in this academy. Garnet wanted to tell the teachers, but feared there was a spy inside, so she could only ask Jay for help. While walking, he encountered Klazi, but fearing there might be a spy among them, Garnet can only ask Jay for help. While walking, he runs into Klazi. Here, Krolazit is sitting because she's protecting the wooden creatures as she really loves them, a strange hobby most nobles don't share. Most nobles prefer cats and dogs, but Krolazit is different. Because of that weird hobby, she has very few friends. But Zay doesn't mind since it's her personal preference, and he also loves insects. So Zay befriended Krolazit, surprising her as he became her first friend. Because of his love for insects, Zay also made friends with Krolazit, which surprised her since he was her very first friend. Krolazit was very happy, but as it was getting dark, she headed back. The next day, Helena lectured about the branches of magic and called Zay up. Helena explained that magic is mainly divided into low, medium, high, and holy tiers, plus high-speed ranged spells. Delayed chain spells, matter transformation, large-scale, and finally large-scale chain summoning. There are 7 branches total, and everyone could only watch as she explained. The class ended, and Helena also said there would be a GA level 4 skill test soon. So before then, she wanted students to form groups of 4 to take the test. Everyone had a group except Zay, who was alone, but Evi came to join him because they were friends. Jay saw Elisa was lonely, so he paired up with her. Elisa felt insecure about her skills and worried she'd be a burden, but Jay didn't care and still wanted her on his team, seeing that Amelia also wanted to join, so Jay's group was complete for the test. Then test day arrived, and Helena explained briefly the practice session. The goal was to reach the center point of the forest, but students were advised to take detours through checkpoints scattered everywhere, and the number of seals collected would affect their scores. Students had 1 day, and going over time would invalidate their results. The forest was full of monsters living in isolation, hiding everywhere, so it was very dangerous to be careless. This was a test, so no help would come, meaning everyone had to fend for themselves. Teams arrived at the designated starting points. Before starting, Amelia told everyone to arrange their formations better for smoother movement. Then the practice began. However, Klazid's group was more interested in monsters than finding seals. At night, Zay's group stopped to rest. At the speed they had the day before, even if monsters appeared, they were defeated with a single, very quick strike. They also found seals and marked them in their notebooks. Meanwhile, Onbet's group, despite having a map, still couldn't find any seals, while Klazid's group was more obsessed with monsters than searching for seals. At night, Jay's group also stopped to rest. With today's speed, Jay's team was moving fast and would pass the test. Amelia and Elisa were both surprised by Jay's superior combat skills and vast survival knowledge that had helped the team escape many dangers. So the title of Gold Hunter wasn't just for show. Jay always said he grew up in the forest in his hometown, which explained his skills. This made everyone suspicious, as it was very different from what their master said. He kept using this excuse to brush things off. This was normal compared to the battlefields Jay had been through, and here Jay truly felt comfortable and enjoyed a normal life like everyone else. Then it got late, so everyone went to sleep. Jay stood guard, thinking about Lydia's words that he should keep his real identity hidden. Jay's situation was quite unique. If he wanted to enjoy school life, he should try to hide it, which would be better. But if Jay found good teammates, he truly trusted there'd be no need to hide anymore. Then a new day began, and while searching for seals, a cry for help sounded. Hearing that, Zay immediately ran over, and it was Onbet's group in danger. Zay rushed in. The monster. It would be better. But if Jay found good teammates and truly trusted them, there would be no need to hide anything. Then a new day began, and while searching for the mark, a cry for help sounded. Hearing that, Zay immediately ran there. It was Onbet's group in danger, and Zay charged forward. The monster attacked, but Zay easily dodged at an insane speed and leapt high, delivering a stabbing blow to bring the monster down. Although saved, Onbet still looked down on Jay and thought he just got lucky. Jay's group then arrived, and everyone helped rescue Onbet's group. Amelia saw Jay take down the huge monster and couldn't believe he was an ordinary commoner. However, someone was behind causing trouble and made the monster even stronger. With a roar, it made even the weak sweat bullets, but Jay showed no fear. Claris heard the strange sound and came out to see Jay fighting it. He charged, swinging a slash, but it was like a mosquito bite. Inox counterattacked. Its strike was stronger than usual, but no one let Jay fight alone. Amelia combined her magic with Elisa's whirlwind, blowing a rock into the monster, creating an opening for Jay to rush in and deliver a powerful slash that defeated it. The monster was defeated, but its slime splattered onto Onbet's teammates, and Jay still didn't understand what kind of creature it really was. Levi also greatly respected Jay for effortlessly splitting the monster in two. Jay looked at his teammates and remembered his old comrades from the Glazik side. Seeing that scene, Amelia couldn't believe Jay was that strong. However, someone was watching Jay's group but left afterward. Then his team sealed another mark. That was the final mark, and the training test ended. The first place team was Zai's. Among the crowd below, only Klazid cheered while the others looked down on Zai. Moreover, they couldn't accept a commoner standing next to Amelia. Still, Jay's group remained carefree since their team won. Onbet was furious after learning how OP Jay was on this side. At Lydia's resort, her servant Kara teased Lydia for not visiting her disciple for 2 months. Meanwhile, Jay had already visited his master. The two met, making Lydia very happy. They then talked about Jay's life at the academy. Although he was doing well, recovering from losing control would take about a year. But if the day ever came when he had no choice, Jay would have to use that power, because Jay was an ice sword wizard and the heir to his master's abilities. Today, Lydia called Jay because rumors were spreading among magical researchers. These rumors were important as they related to magical memory. Research on magic generally focused on the magic itself, essentially encryption, but Lydia's research was different. She studied the brain itself because magic first arises from the brain and processes internal information by applying cryptography theory, then intervenes in materials to turn them into entities. This is the magic that ordinary people use. Lydia, looking into her own brain, discovered the theory that this is the magic ordinary people use. Lydia found the double encryption theory, and announcing it sparked a new wave in magic research. Now, everything was closely linked to the brain. The part of magic stored in the brain is the magical memory clarified. Research into the brain and magic decoding the truth seemed absurd. However, clarifying magical memory and brain research to decode the truth seemed absurd. However, some people used any means to achieve their goals. Instead of spending time using magic to read brain information, they cut open wizards' heads to rummage inside. They crossed ethical boundaries without remorse. This was the El Nix cult, who even tried to lure Lydia, but Lydia was not easily deceived. Putting that aside, Jay took his master outside for some fresh air. Lydia then asked Jay if he already had friends, seeing him smile more than before. Jay said after entering school, he made a few elite friends, including a half-elf girl who loved Lydia's works. Hearing this, Lydia wanted Jay to bring them here next time. After walking a bit, Lydia recalled an upcoming magic swordsman competition where 3 academies of the kingdom competed. Lydia told Jay she had won 4 years in a row there, and if Jay joined, he might even surpass Lydia. However, to read the information stored in their brains, they even slit the witches' heads to dig inside. They crossed the line of human ethics and acted as if nothing happened. That was the El Nix demonology cult, and they wanted to recruit Lydia, but Lydia wasn't easily fooled. Setting that aside, Jay led his master outside to get some fresh air. Lydia also asked, Jay already has friends, right? His face is smiling more than before. Jay also said that after entering school, he got to know a few elite friends, including a half-elf girl who really loves reading Lydia's works. Hearing that Lydia also wants to come here next time and have Jay bring them along. After walking a bit, Lydia remembered there's an upcoming magic swordsman competition. That's a contest between the 3 academies of the kingdom. Lydia also told Jay that she had won 4 years in a row there, and if Jay could participate, he might even surpass Lydia. However, Jay planned to handle backstage work partly to rest and recover and partly to cheer on his friends. Lydia accepted this because she no longer had the strength to protect Jay, but now she wasn't worried about that anymore and entrusted him to Jay a notebook that would help him someday soon. Setting that aside the next day, Jay trained again. Watching him train made Elisa captivated by him. He saw a stack of books, so Jay thought Elisa was going somewhere, and she said she planned to go to the library and the bookstore in Chow District today. It sounded interesting, so Jay wanted to go along. Elisa felt shy too, so she dressed neatly like a proper noble to go with Jay, making Jay constantly praise her since it was the first time he'd seen Elisa dressed so splendidly. They both went to the bookstore. Because Elisa was too short, Jay helped her reach the books. The book Elisa picked was an early academic work by Dr. A.I. Kwok, because Elisa loved the doctor's new ideas about magical memory. And this book's publication was an opportunity to spark a new trend in magic research. While Elisa was reading a romance novel by Luna Antilo, which surprised Elisa, Jay explained that the novel conveyed the subtle emotions in human love, especially since the author Luna Antilo was very skilled at describing such things. Since Jay didn't fully understand, he wanted to learn more about it. After finishing the books, they went outside and unexpectedly ran into Laziz, who was there too. She saw Jay happily with another girl and intended to start a conversation, but couldn't. She thought of ways to approach, but before she could say anything, Jay surprisingly came over to her meeting Laziz there, and since he was about to eat lunch, he invited Laziz to join. Of course, Laziz didn't refuse and accepted her face as red as a tomato because Jay was so handsome. The 3 went to a casual restaurant for lunch. Jay also introduced Elisa to Laziz. The 2 were shy, meeting for the first time since Jay pointed out all their weaknesses. Then they ordered lunch and happily talked together. After eating, the 2 girls said goodbye to Jay, and as he was about to leave, he ran into Amelia, who was dressed very elegantly. When they met, Jay ran over to talk. Amelia had just come from a gathering before the upcoming sword festival, hence the fancy outfit. Jay complimented Amelia on her beauty. She blushed from the praise. Truly a pro at flirting, must be on another level, unlike a guy who's been single for years and still hasn't found a girlfriend. Later, Jay and Amelia sat by the waterfall to talk privately. Jay told her why he was here, which made Amelia jealous because Jay was hanging out with another girl. So while Jay was free, Amelia wanted him to hang out with her too. They went shopping together. Amelia wore very alluring outfits, and Jay could only praise her. While trying on clothes, Amelia got curious about whether Jay had lived with women before. Jay said he didn't care because he grew up surrounded by many women. Unfortunately, a spider interrupted their talk, and Amelia ran outside immediately, but she forgot Jay was a guy letting him see her measurements. However, Jay remained calm and apologized for earlier, also complimenting her as meeting his standards, which made Amelia wish to be his wife one day. Moving on in the afternoon, Helena called Jay for a talk. Helena asked Jay how his life was here, and of course he answered well, which surprised Helena, because before she was worried about him since he was the first commoner to join since the school was established. But now seeing him settled made Helena very happy. She also said that although she had been a teacher for a long time and wanted to become a magic researcher every year, some people would become discouraged and leave the academy due to relationships or achievements. If they just reached out to her for help, Helena would help them become elite wizards. She felt guilty for focusing on herself and neglecting students. But now Jay helped Helena realize what a teacher should be, so Helena, because she focused only on herself and neglected the students. But now Jay helped Helena realize what a teacher should be, so Helena told Jay that if he ever needed anything, she would help him. That evening, Albert was training hard with the goal to defeat Jay, especially since a stranger was there to assist him. The next day, the Environmental Club, also known as the Hunters, trained their stamina. Everyone was pushing their limits, and Evi wanted to buy whey protein after school to boost their health. Unfortunately, Jay declined because he had other work. Dina gave him a spare key, to the club office. Since none of the other members could come today, only Jay was there. Jay went inside, and as he opened the door, he saw Jabetska changing clothes. Although seeing a girl changing, Jay stayed calm and closed the door. To Jabetska's surprise, he waited until she finished changing before apologizing. Zabitha didn't think much of it, since it was just a coincidence, so she didn't blame him. Then Jay got curious about the biology book. Zabitha taught him, saying the materials in the book are usually incomplete, and she also took notes. A little inside Zabitha's job is to record flowers mutated by magic. It's hard to explain, so Zabitha showed him. She said this species actually uses magic to take this form. The carnivorous plant is the most common, and it can evolve based on magic. I observed a bit of the phenomena in the book and deduced it was magic, and there's even a note about the baby's breath flower Jake likes. This made Jake curious, and it made Zabitha happy to teach a younger sibling to understand plants more deeply. Before, Zabitha had never taught anyone. It's because she is related to the three great noble houses, so everyone keeps their distance from Zabitha, so when she wants to teach them a little, she hesitates. Hearing this, Jay understood Zabitha better, and he borrowed the book to study more deeply. In the afternoon, Zabitha asked Jay if he would serve as the executive committee member for the Magical Sword Tournament. He replied yes, and this time, he planned to cheer for Amelia. Amelia was the most promising rookie fighter and also belonged to one of the three great families. Speaking of which, Jay got curious about the other family, which was the Ogun family, not attending this school, but all studying at the Dior Me Magic Academy. That family also had a female heir who was a formidable rival to Amelia. The next day, because the Magical Swordsman Tournament was approaching, the school had to select top students to participate. Among the rookie matches were one-on-one duels between first-year students, meaning all volunteers. Here were rivals, and it was very fast-paced. Amelia won, but she didn't want to stop and immediately challenged Jay. "What about Jay?" He accepted the challenge. As the match began, Amelia spun and launched multiple attacks while Jay analyzed Amelia's weak offensive power but strong health, which made Jay step back. Amelia then charged again and slammed Jay. But Jay remained calm and remembered training with Uncle Havoc as a child. Immediately, Amelia's attack was countered, and just as Jay was about to finish it, he dropped his sword and naturally lost the match. Amelia thought differently because Jay had actually won the final moment, but Jay said it was nothing since the best side hated him fiercely. Afterwards, Jay's group went out to lunch together, and Clazide was sad he couldn't watch. Too weak, but on the other hand, very strong health also made Jay step back, and Amelia rushed in to attack and slammed Jay down, while Jay remained calm, remembering training with Uncle Havoc when he was little. Immediately, Amelia's attack was countered, and just as Jay was about to finish it, he dropped his sword, and of course, Jay lost, but Amelia thought otherwise because Jay won in the final moment yet. Jay said it was nothing, and that Onbest really hated Jay bitterly. After that, Jay's group went for lunch together, and Clazide was sad he missed the fight. Everyone also casually talked about how skilled both were in swordsmanship. Evi was curious about Jay's swordsmanship skills and wanted to know where he learned. Jay said he had a master who taught him swordsmanship magic, how to be a person, and how to handle everything in body and mind. Zai said that master was basically like his own mother. The group was chatting happily when Onbet came to challenge Zai. Jay didn't hesitate and accepted the challenge. The two then moved to an open field to fight, which was completely surrounded by a barrier, so there was no risk of collateral damage outside. Onbat also reminded the rules. They would fight with real swords and could use magic, meaning Onbat wanted a serious life or death battle with Jay. Immediately Onbat charged, but Jay easily dodged and grabbed the sword while a mysterious stranger watched the duel from nearby. Onbat lunged again, but his slash missed completely, using both sword and magic. Onbat fought fiercely. About Onbat's background, he was the eldest son of the Alium family. The Alium clan was high nobility but considered middle class since the family wasn't regarded as prestigious. Because of this, Onbat's father endured much bitterness, and seeing that Onbat set a goal for his life to make the Alium family prestigious. So first, Onbat needed to become the highest level wizard, and now driven by hatred, Onbat lost all composure, determined to fight Jay to the death. But Jay dodged every attack effortlessly, and with the next strike, a single slash, cut Onbat's fireball in half. Now Jay was getting serious and showing Onbat just how vast this world really was. Jay charged into the sea of flames, dodging all of Onbat's fire attacks. Quickly, Jay closed the distance, and at that moment, Onbat thought Jay was the illegitimate child of a third-rank noble. However, Jay said he was from a commoner background with no ties to nobility. Hearing that, Onbat's anger flared, and he created a massive fireball that transformed into a dragon and charged at Jay. But Jay easily sliced it in half, looking insanely cool as always. The stunned audience watched as Onbat suffered a devastating defeat while Jay's teammates grew curious about where Jay came from. Just as Jay was about to speak, a strong gravity force knocked everyone down except Jay, caused by the mysterious figure none other than Helena. She was from Elnix, targeting the magical memories of the students, in other words, the minds of wizards, and her goal was to kidnap students during training in Capsa Forest. The monsters controlling the attack shouldn't have appeared, but the one controlling them was Helena. Since this only happens once a year, Helena used the monsters to kidnap the students, making it easy to escape blame. Jay realized Onbat was manipulated by Helena, which caused him to lose his sanity. Jay's deductions were correct, and thanks to Onbat, Helena succeeded. She extended a powerful barrier, trapping a group of outstanding future wizards. If Helena gathered enough brains like this, her position in Elnix would rise greatly. Ray remembered Helena's earlier lies to him, realizing they were all deception. That's right. Helena was interested in Ray's qualities just like her previous targets. She used psychological tactics to lure students, then struck. Ray didn't hesitate and fought Helena. Knowing Ray was strong in close combat, Helena retreated, attacking with magic. She immediately unleashed 2 fire dragons to attack. Jay struggled to dodge, but Helena targeted their friends. In the dangerous moment, Jay remembered his master's words and instantly broke the time freeze on his body. A protective ice barrier enveloped everyone, surprising Helena. When she realized Jay was the Ice Sword Wizard, Helena didn't expect the Ice Sword Wizard. Onbet lost all composure like that, and of course Jay's deductions were correct, and thanks to Onbet, Helena was helped. The powerful barrier was successfully extended, and Helena had a chance to capture a group of outstanding future witches gathered together. Just by collecting so many brains like that, Helena's status in Elnix would also be elevated. It made Ray recall that everything Helena said to him before was a lie exactly. It was because Helena was interested in Ray's qualities, and all previous students were like that, using psychological tactics to lure students. Then she struck. Ray didn't hesitate but fought Helena. Helena knew Ray was skilled at close range, so she retreated using magic to attack him. Helena immediately summoned 2 fire dragons to attack. Jay made him struggle to dodge the moves, but Helena attacked his friends, and at the critical moment, Jay remembered his master's words. He instantly dispelled the frozen time effect on his body. Immediately, an ice barrier enveloped and protected everyone, surprising Helena when she realized Jay was the Ice Sword Witch. Helena didn't expect an Ice Sword Witch to protect everyone. Helena was shocked because Jay was the Ice Sword Witch, who was supposed to have disappeared since the Eastern Campaign, but now reappeared, and those words were not wrong. But Jay was the one who inherited the Ice Sword Witch's power. Helena immediately launched a powerful attack, but with one sword, Jay shattered the fireball, forcing Helena to use a Hell Dragon to attack him. Jay then activated Antimatter Code, easily destroying Helena's Hell Dragon. Then Jay counterattacked, making Helena unable to escape. At this point, she couldn't run anymore. Helena tried to manipulate his mind, but too bad Jay was handsome, not dumb. Helena immediately attacked, but it was completely ineffective. Even so, Helena was not afraid of death. There's no way to escape now. Helena intends to manipulate your mind. Too bad, Jay. Handsome, not stupid. Helena immediately attacked, but it had no effect. Still, she showed no fear of death. She used the Dark Triangle system and implanted it in her head, instantly boosting Helena's power. She turned into a real monster. The barrier was broken and everyone could move again. But Jay was still fiercely fighting Helena. She attacked him with firepower, but it was useless against ice. Instead, Jay created swords from the magic Helena summoned, leaving her confused. Jay explained that these ice swords were just symbolic magic attributes, not their true form, and the swords were merely a representation of ice wizardry. Helena, like an owl, unleashed a massive fire attack at him, but Jay easily slowed it down, stabilized the flames, and dispersed them. Then he asked Helena what the biggest difference was between fire magic and ice magic. Helena replied the main difference was using coding to increase or decrease molecular vibration speed, which was correct. Jay said that ice magic is simply the act of drastically slowing down. Most wizards handle this unconsciously, but Jay slowed speed by building complex codes with precise control, something ordinary people can't do. Then he used antimatter coding to overturn cryptographic theory and reduce all magic back to raw materials, which wasn't recorded in any books. But since Helena didn't know all the magic before her, Jay would return to nothingness. That's the essence of Ice Wizard swords. Now, fully understanding Helena, charged forward, but Jay blocked every attack. Evi noticed something strange. Jay's body was slowly freezing. On Beth's watch, she also reflected that everything happened because of her mistake. Helena realized she still couldn't control her power, panting hard. She rushed again, breaking Jay's sword this time. However, Jay summoned chaotic snow and instantly created a blizzard, tearing through Helena inside, giving her a permanent freezing sentence. But Jay was exhausted and fainted. When he woke up, Lydia was very worried for him, but that was off the battlefield. Jay had been found in an accident, and Lydia was the one who found him. She brought Jay back to the camp, leading everyone to think Lydia was pregnant and had given birth to this baby, which annoyed Lydia so much she almost put Kazone on the scoreboard. Lydia then explained the story, but when sending Jay to the orphanage, they refused to take him, making Lydia angry because he was the only survivor nobody wanted to raise. Garnet thought the village where Jay lived was too independent, so the government didn't intervene. Lydia learned that village was cursed because they performed countless rituals like summoning gods. This originated from discovering cryptographic theory and magic. Called extraordinary power was integrated into the system like magic. Garnet thought if research continued, it might reveal the world's true nature, and if humanity wanted to survive, superstition was necessary. While they talked, Jay woke up and Lydia immediately ran to him. Kazone asked his name, but he didn't answer until Lydia asked. Then he said Jay. Lydia started caring for Jay, but Kazone stole the credit and made Jay read books. Jay didn't look happy, but when Lydia touched him, he behaved gently. That night, Lydia thought hard and decided to adopt Jay. The next day, Lydia announced it to everyone because she was the one who saved Jay, and Jay was approved for adoption and stayed with everyone here. Because of that, he joined the battlefield and became a talented kid who had been approved for adoption and lived with everyone here. Because of that, he also joined the battlefield and became a talented kid who helped a lot for everyone. On the battlefield, many lost control, causing a great tragedy. Surely this area has something going on, so the chance of witches losing control here is very high. After that, everyone returned to the camp, and the lieutenant talked about the current war situation. 2 witches, Blue and Thunder, were confirmed, dead meaning Freddy's combat power could defeat 7 great witches, making Garnet realize that the evil empire was involved and the battle was becoming more intense. The lieutenant also said the Astro Army hardly stands a chance of survival, so everyone should stay vigilant to avoid dying like it's nothing. And Jay is the youngest, and he was advised to retreat early while he still can, but Jay still wants to fight alongside everyone because they are all his family. But when Uncle Havoc didn't make it, Jay lost his composure and revealed his power. Afterwards, Jay woke up and Lydia was by his side taking care of him. This time, Jay used his power, and Lydia didn't scold him because he used it appropriately, and she wanted Jay not to worry too much about it. Lydia hoped that one day Jay wouldn't have to fix the time within his body anymore, and then he could use magic freely. Garnet also said this time Jay did very well because he saved his friends. Enough of visiting the injured, it was time for Lydia to leave. The maid stayed behind and told Jay that Lydia was very worried about him, so she wanted Jay to rest well. Garnet also said at first she opposed Jay enrolling because she wanted him to rest more, since this is a domestic school and heavily emphasizes bloodlines, so commoners like Jay definitely wouldn't be happy. But because Lydia bowed and asked Garnet for help, Garnet allowed him to join the academy. Jay realized everything was made possible thanks to his master's help. When Lydia went outside, she finally showed her emotions relieved that Jay was safe and survived to return. Now Jay has a new identity, so Garnet wants Jay to enjoy a happy life at this school. Then the friends also came to visit him, and now Jay had nothing left to hide, telling them he is one of the 7 great witches. But because of one time losing control and causing magic to spiral out of control when Jay regained stability, everything around was wiped clean and only he and his master survived. Even Lydia, though injured, held tightly onto Jay to calm him down, preventing harm to others. So Jay used fixed time magic to suppress his magic power, meaning his magic isn't smooth because of that. Everyone understood and sympathized with him. Now Jay is no longer alone with friends by his side, comforting him and making Jay smile happily. At night, Onbest came to see Jay. Jay had already guessed this, so he had been waiting for Onbest all along. Onbest felt guilty and apologized for what he did and that he couldn't fix it. Jay accepted Onbest's apology and gave him another source of motivation to strive for to face difficulties head on. Then Onbest would understand what Jay meant. Not everyone is born skilled, but the harshness of their environment is what makes them strong. After that, Amelia returned to her room and thought, when she learned Jay's true identity, Amelia felt Jay was like her, both having endured a harsh past. Although Amelia was highly expected by others, she felt she couldn't become someone great. Inside, she felt empty, like a bird in a cage, but the hot water made her eyes sting, so Amelia went outside reconsidering and starting to pay attention to Jay since their shopping trip. Meanwhile, after recovering, Jay also went to school, and his new teacher was Kazone. She also spoke about the magic sword competition and detailed the rules, explaining that 3 schools will select 16 top students to compete. Last year, the winner was the Bora family, so usually 5 compete, but this time they'll add 1 more participant. Kazone also clearly explained each person's specialty and glanced at Jay, making him stiffen in surprise. So as soon as class ended, he went to find Garnet to talk. Jay didn't understand why Kazone was a teacher, and Garnet said Kazone was free, so they invited her to teach for convenience and to recruit talents to protect the school. But Jay, teachers are always convenient, and also to select talented people to protect the safety of this school. But Jay disagrees because he can protect himself too. As for Kazone, Jay has always been very frustrated with her, but now it's too late, and magic, like Kazone's in this school, is extremely useful. Moreover, students, everyone quite likes Kazone, but no one knows Kazone's true face. Just as he was about to say more, Kazone appeared right away. Behind Jay, he was also furious. Afterwards, Jay went to watch the sparring matches to pick someone, and Classic asked too. Jay predicted the outcome of the match. He observed carefully, noting the speed of code construction and precision far surpassed the opponents. So even though the guy attacked the girl with a sword, his swordsmanship wasn't good enough, which led Jay to conclude the girl would win. And indeed, his deduction was spot on, impressing Classic, since Jay figured out the winner with just a little analysis. Jay explained he observed their movements and fighting styles and roughly predicted the next match's result involving Amelia. Very quickly, Amelia defeated her opponent, and everyone thought she had won, but deep down, Amelia didn't feel that way. Flashback to before Amelia's father once said she was the eldest of the Rose family, one of the top 3 noble houses, so Amelia had to fight her best especially against Ogun. Once said she was the eldest of the Rose family, the top of the three great noble houses, so Amelia had to fight her hardest, especially against Ogun and Amelia. They absolutely could not lose to Azion to avoid bringing shame to the family. Hearing this, Jay also asked Rebka, and Rebka told him everything. Curious if Azion was strong, Jay asked, and Rebka said she was very powerful, because she comes from a prestigious noble family, unlike Amelia, who prides herself on noble status. That's why her strength is increased, and if Amelia faced Azion, it would definitely be a very tough battle. The early rounds went on with Amelia continuously winning tickets to advance, and her next opponent was none other than Onbest. Now that Onbest had reformed. That night, Jay stayed up studying and remembered the diary Lydia had given him. Then, the next day while Amelia was walking home, Jay blocked her path and started talking. Jay said fighting like that wasn't fun at all and asked if she was okay. Jay continued, if Amelia wants to become stronger before the tournament, I'll help. About a month ago. It was all recorded in Lydia's diary, and Jay became stronger after training the way she had taught him before. It was all detailed in Lydia's diary, and Jay became stronger after training the way she had taught him before. Hearing this, wanting to get stronger, Amelia agreed. Going back to the past, Amelia was a very shy girl, but while she was lonely, Azion came and started a conversation wanting Amelia to play with her. So the two little girls grew up and became close friends, but one day they decided to fight each other on the battlefield. From then, the two best friends gradually grew apart. Amelia was the loser, and that made her realize she needed to become stronger to survive. The next day, Amelia woke up early to train, though she hesitated for a moment. Here, Jay appeared in a very different way. Now he was Master Jay and her instructor just beginning. Jay made Amelia run around Kapka Forest without using her powers to build endurance, of course. Jay also ran, but he was used to it. As for Amelia, she was exhausted on just the first day of training. Next came push-ups with a weight on her back, and all the lessons Jay taught were focused on raising Amelia's strength to a new level, making Amelia dread Jay's methods. They were like hell. In her dream, Amelia dreamed of Elisa and Claziz, but that was just comforting words that suited boys, not girls at all. But it was just a dream. Jay woke Amelia up to continue training, but he made noise. So Dina and Zebetka came out to scold him for disturbing others' sleep so early. Amelia took advantage of this to run away, but was caught by Jay, who immediately chased after her. During the search, he met Onbest here. Meeting Jay, Onbest asked what to do to become stronger because he was very confused despite training every day. Jay advised Onbest not to worry because he had actually gotten stronger than before. Meanwhile, Claziz was frustrated while being tutored by Elisa when Jay also came to their place and used tracking to sense where Amelia was hiding. Very quickly, Jay found Amelia and made her continue training. After the Jay informed the hunting club president, who agreed to help Jay strengthen Amelia. The president gave Jay an item he had asked him to prepare earlier. So the next morning when Evi woke up, she saw a girl staying behind instead of training with Amelia, with the two wives taking her place. Suddenly, a girl walked by and told Amelia she should train more, and that person was none other than Jay. When the item Jay asked the president to prepare was to transform himself into a girl, and it was 99% real. He sneaked into Diame school and found a little girl crying loudly because she lost her sister. Jay infiltrated Diome Academy and found a little girl crying bitterly because she lost her sister. Jay approached and helped her look for her sister. He asked her name and learned it was Tiana. Jerry, on the other hand, had another name, Lily. As Jay led the girls searching, all the girls' attention was drawn to him, unsure why a goddess had appeared here. With that beauty, Lily captivated even the girls, and soon Tiana found her sister. The person was none other than Aziane. Lily talked with Aziane, who thanked her for helping her little sister. At first glance, Aziane also realized Lily wasn't a student of this school and wanted to know where Lily came from, so he revealed his real name, which made Aziane freeze for a few seconds because she had been thinking Lily was a girl. Jay used some secret code and magic to disguise himself so no one could recognize him. When Aziane heard his name, she realized Jay was just a commoner. To repay the favor of helping Tiana, Aziane wanted to spar with Jay a bit. As soon as the match started, Aziane charged to attack and overwhelm Jay, but he blocked it. However, Aziane used magic to make Jay lose. When the match ended, Lily also talked a bit with Aziane. Seeing that Lily's swordsmanship wasn't bad, Aziane asked if Lily participated in swordsmanship competitions, and he said he was on the executive committee and was helping Amelia. Aziane realized Lily came here all because of Amelia. Jay also said Amelia was trying very hard and had already won through the rookie round and wanted Aziane to taste defeat. Of course, Amelia was looking forward to it. After that, Jay went back, but at that moment, he ran into a girl who looked sad about something. When she saw Jay, she instantly fell for him, even though they were the same gender. Her name was Mazia, and she also knew his name was Lily. When she heard the Lily family name, she realized Mazia was Rebecca's younger sister, but somehow Lily had an attraction that made Mazia want to know which school Lily attended so she could study there too. This left Jay speechless, but then Mazia left. Amelia was also exhausted after a whole day of training. At this time, Jay appeared, but in female form, which surprised everyone. Putting that aside, the next day, Jay led the group to his master's house. Everyone was very happy to meet. The legend and the person Elisa admired, so Elisa asked Lydia for an autograph, which made Elisa very happy, and she also gave some advice. To each person until she met Amelia, Lydia took her aside to talk while Jay went to boil water with Kara. By the way, Kara mentioned that it seemed the Empire's Death Squad was about to act, meaning they would move when the Magic Sword tournament took place. Because all powerful nobles would participate in that tournament, it was the perfect time for the Death Squad to move on this side. Lydia also talked with Amelia. Every day, Jay sent letters to Lydia because he was very worried about Amelia sending reports to help Amelia become stronger. And Lydia sensed that Amelia could be a great help to Jay. Something Lydia had never taught Jay before was about human nature, because he, since birth, was a child abandoned with nowhere to rely on, and although he spent a long time recovering by himself beside him, were soldiers so normal, love wasn't something found on the battlefield. That's why Jay couldn't be carefree, so Lydia suggested Jay enroll in the academy, and that helped Jay smile more than before. Putting that aside, after the talk, the group went swimming together, and after spending the whole day out, Evi and Jay still didn't forget to train the next morning. As usual, Amelia trained, and this time she was different from before, and he felt Amelia was getting stronger. And training swordsmanship with her, as long as Amelia could break the petal on his body, she would win. Finally, the Magic Sword tournament took place with the best students from all three academies gathering. The first match featured Amelia, and before she entered the arena, Amelia met Asia. But the two were no longer friendly, so Asia challenged Amelia to the finals. Entering the match, Amelia's opponent was from Magros Magic Academy. He was very arrogant, but in less than 30 seconds, Amelia easily defeated him. When the match ended, Jay left and went to find Onbet. He gave strength to Onbet, even though Onbet's opponent was Aziane. Still, Onbet did his best. However, everyone could guess the outcome. Onbet was defeated, but he still charged and broke Aziane's sword. Everyone already guessed the result. Onbet was defeated, but Onbet charged forward and broke Aziane's sword. Aziane then used magic to bring down Onbet. Naturally, Aziane was the winner, but Onbet, he wasn't upset because he had done his best. Meanwhile, as he left, a mysterious figure watched him from behind. When Jay turned around, the figure vanished, but left traces for him to recognize. Right then, he met the guild leader who guided him to the cursed land. Upon entering, Jay grew curious about the people inside, standing guard there. The siblings explained they were from the Hale clan. This clan is in charge of the kingdom's intelligence agency, and the siblings are members of that clan. She was born and trained to be the kingdom's #1 super spy. The president of the environmental club is also Kakla's younger brother. His name is Lex, and he's eager to mentor Jay more. But putting that aside, the siblings got to the main topic when the Reaper snuck into this competition. Their goal is to kidnap children of the high-ranking nobles and assassinate them. So the lost siblings brought Jay here to warn him to stay on high alert. Since their target is students, it's very likely Jay will encounter enemies nearby. Also, Lex is here to support Jay, and the underground base said Jay is allowed to use his powers when facing enemies without worry because he has backup. That night, Jay was deep in thought, and to protect Amelia, he's willing to do whatever it takes to help her. The next day, the third round ended, and the official finalist is a third-year student from Arnold Academy, none other than Rebecca. Meanwhile, Jay was watching from above when Clarice and Eliza came to talk to him, both bringing up Amelia. Amelia had locked herself in her room and refused to come out. When they said she should open the door, Amelia seemed to be suffering from something deeply painful, and the finals were approaching. On the arena, an opponent was defeated in less than 2 seconds, setting the record for the fastest knockout in history. As the winner left, he glanced at the siblings, which made Jay think about Amelia. Meanwhile, Arian trained day and night, immediately smashing a punching bag, making her father very proud, because tomorrow is the battle between her and Amelia. Meanwhile, Jay and Evi were still training. Seeing Jay worried and lost in thought, Evi said he should just go, maybe things will turn out differently. Spurred on by his 3 teammates, Jay went to Amelia's room. He talked with her, confessing his fears and how scared he was to enter Amelia's heart. Would he even be able to touch her heart? What if he broke it? These thoughts haunted him constantly. Over time, he wondered if his decision was right, but he never dared to confess and kept avoiding it. But now Jay refuses to run away anymore. He wants to be by her side to help listen and understand her. And Amelia even opened the door for Jay. With no one else around, she admitted that truly humans are something indescribable. Amelia always played the role of a noble princess, expected by everyone around her to live up to her status as the Rose family's eldest daughter. Amelia never stopped trying, and it was very hard. She barely made it this far. But compared to Jay's painful past, these things were nothing worth mentioning. Jay said comparing someone else's painful past is wrong, and he understood that when Amelia is suffering, She never rests and keeps training relentlessly. When Amelia met Jay, she thought she could achieve something winning the competition with his help. However, one thing Amelia can't do is beat Arian. Even after many years, she's still like a bird in a cage, unable to break free. Jay understood this and helped Amelia stay clear-headed. Life is hard, but people still find meaning to exist, and to do that, they must create meaning for their own lives. No matter how painful sharing with companions and supporting each other is the meaning they can create. So Jay wants to be by Amelia's side and continue living with her. Amelia couldn't hold back her emotions and hugged him. Then Jay helped Amelia rest, but as he left, Amelia held his hand, reminding Jay of their training match. Just as Jay was about to win, Amelia unleashed her power, making the flowers on him burst into flames. Just as Jay was about to win, Amelia unleashed her power, causing the flowers on him to ignite, and she won. The next day arrived the rookie tournament final with many spectators coming to watch. This was a major event as two great families competed. Jay met everyone and said Amelia was fine because he stayed with her all night, which made Eliza jealous, thinking Jay had done something last night. Meanwhile, after talking for a bit, Jay said goodbye and wished Amelia good luck. Meanwhile, Clarice was running desperately because she overslept. She caught the attention of a stranger inside. Jay also gave Amelia a bouquet of battle flowers and hugged her to comfort her. Outside, Lex sensed something, so he talked to Dina briefly before leaving with a serious look. Then Lex went to talk with Jay. When Clarice was kidnapped, about 8 other noble students also went missing. Knowing this, Jay went down to search. He sensed a strong, murderous aura coming from underground. Lex planned to meet Ladia first, then come to help Jay. Outside, Karen dressed in a glamorous outfit for the finals. Then the match began with the 2 close friends present, and Arian threw away her sword, instead using her demon transformation to fight Amelia. Immediately, Amelia took a punch that sent her flying several meters. The audience above didn't understand what power Arian was using, but Karen explained it was Arian's original magical form that boosts her physical strength, making her not to be underestimated. Then Arian charged again and landed a punch that made Amelia retreat several meters. Amelia had to forcefully use her demon transformation as well, but still couldn't defeat Arian. Meanwhile, Jay quickly found the kidnapped people, though Clarice mistook Jay for something else. That was fine. He called to wake her up suddenly. Before either of them could escape, a large area jamming spell was activated, meaning this space was isolated from the outside, and Grim Reapers appeared to kill Jay, forcing him in 32 moves to carry Clarice and run to another area, breaking free from control and fighting back. Seeing they couldn't win, the enemies warped the space into total darkness with no escape route. But Jay sensed and broke all the magic escaping the space. This caused Amelia and Arian's fight above to lose their magic momentarily. Then he immediately froze everything, trapping the Grim Reapers so they couldn't escape. As soon as he finished, Lex arrived to handle the rest and rushed to Amelia's match. She was a bit weak from using too much power, but Arian unleashed her full strength. Instantly, a massive power radiated out, making Amelia's attacks seem like mosquito bites. Conversely, Arian's speed increased beyond normal, and she attacked Amelia. One punch, but Amelia still held on. However, the next move was a hook punch that nearly pushed Amelia's body to its limit. About to give up, Amelia was encouraged by Jay, and thanks to that, she awakened her true power. That's really all for this part. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to motivate me to make better videos. Senior brother Ali, I'll be waiting for you in the next episode. Where's the next episode? Just click follow the series and you'll know.